Hello, Year 3, and welcome to our next Year 3 assembly. Well done so far on all of your work. You are all doing brilliantly. There have been some fantastic pieces of work, but I've really enjoyed your outdoor education work, your whittling last week, and seeing your names that you made outside out of sticks and leaves. It was also lovely to see lots of people working in groups during PSHCE last week. I think it worked really, really well, and that's definitely something else we'll try later in the term. There have been lots of stars of the week, so I'm just going to read out just a few of the people that got the top 2 scores in their forms for each week. Lots and lots of Lockdown Legend credits have been earned. So very well done to Poppy, Harriet, George, Martha, Tom, Thomas, Jessica, Henry, India, and everyone on all your efforts earning your Lockdown Legend credits. In PSHCE, we have been talking about dreams and goals. It's important to have people to look up to and to inspire you to help reach your goals. These could be friends or family members, or just important figures in society. I'm going to discuss somebody that I looked up to when I was your age, something that inspired me to want to reach my goals. The man I'm going to talk to you about is Ian Wright, a man who went from working on a building site as a labourer to becoming the top goal scorer in Arsenal's history. But first, as it's an Arsenal player that I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm an Arsenal fan, I feel like I should look like an Arsenal fan. Give me 1 second, Year 3. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Ian Wright was born in London. He grew up without seeing his father very often and lived with his mother, and also his stepfather, who wasn't always very kind to him. So because of that, Ian spent lots of his time outside playing football. Sometimes he was unsure about a lot of things, but one thing he was always certain about is that he wanted to be a professional footballer. He didn't always have somebody to look up to, a role model in his life. He actually said the first male role model he had was his teacher, Mr. Pigeon. Mr. Pigeon helped Ian to read and to write, gave him jobs to do in the classroom, like take the register or to be the milk monitor, and he felt a real sense of pride with that. And he really felt Mr. Pigeon wanted him to do his best and really looked out for him. However, despite the efforts of Mr. Pigeon and some of his football coaches, Ian did still get into trouble in and out of school. He had trials with different professional teams like Southend and Brighton, but he didn't ever get offered a contract. He could have given up, but he didn't. He still wanted to play football. He still dreamed of being a professional footballer. He had a young family, so he had to work. He had to try and provide for his family. He worked as a labourer on a building site and also a plasterer. But as I said, he never gave up on his dreams. From being a teenager until the age of 21, Ian played amateur football just for a team on a Sunday with some friends. And he signed for a semi-professional team in 1985. He was earning £30 a game, which would be nice, but it's a long way from being a professional footballer. It seemed like that dream of being a professional footballer was almost getting further and further away. After 6 or 7 matches playing for this team, he was spotted by Crystal Palace, a professional team in one of the top leagues in the country. He was invited to have a trial. At first, he turned them down. Maybe he was scared, maybe he was anxious, maybe he wasn't sure if he really was good enough. But he did go to the trial and he really impressed the manager and they signed him. He now had signed his first professional contract. He had become a professional footballer. But how long would this dream really last? Well, it would go on to last a very long time, and he was actually recently voted one of Crystal Palace's greatest ever players. He had a good spell at Crystal Palace, scoring lots of goals, but his career really took off in the FA Cup final of 1989. Let's set the scene. He's a substitute for this game. So he would have been disappointed, and his team are losing, and they're losing with not very long left in the game. So Ian comes off the bench, and within a few minutes, he equalises, and the game goes to extra time. And then, in extra time, he scores again to give Palace the lead for the first time in the game. Sadly, they would draw that game against Manchester United and would lose the replay 1-0. But Ian was the star of that game, and he really had attracted the attention of one team in particular. I wonder who that team might have been. Arsenal. Ian Wright signed for Arsenal in 1991 for £2.5 million. This was a record for Arsenal at that time. He scored 3 goals on his debut and would go on to score 31 goals in that first season. He was a star already in the Arsenal team and would be the club's top scorer 6 years in a row. Ian Wright went on to be a really successful member of the Arsenal team during that period, winning the FA Cup and the League Cup, the League, and helping Arsenal to reach the European Cup final, which they won 1-0. On the 13th of September 1997, Ian Wright broke the Arsenal goal-scoring record and became the Arsenal top goal scorer when he scored a hat-trick against Bolton. In this story, Ian Wright was trying to score 179 goals to break the record. I think in all the excitement, he must have forgot about this, because when he scored his first goal in that game, he thought he had broken the record, and he had a big t-shirt on underneath his Arsenal shirt saying 179. However, he had actually only equalled the record. He hadn't actually broken it. But saving his embarrassment, a few minutes later, he scored again and finally did break that record. Ian Wright would go on to score 185 goals for Arsenal, becoming the club's top ever goal scorer, including 11 hat-tricks. He's somebody that I looked up to when I was younger and really inspired me to want to play football and want to work hard to reach my goals. A great career, and also highlighting the importance of working hard, learning from your mistakes, making the most of all your opportunities, and believing in yourself. Who inspires you, Year 3? I would love to know. And remember to always keep dreaming and dream big. Have a great weekend, everyone.